Let's say you're about to send your kids off to your grandma's house and you talk to their grandma and she lets you know, they're not going to be eating any candy over here. I got a lot of vegetables. As a matter of fact, I just got a bunch of broccoli and this is all they're really going to be eating when they get over here. So they're not going to be eating any candy over here when they get here. Now, if you knew this was the case, would it be a good idea for you to tell your kids, you know what? When y'all get to grandma's, there's going to be a lot of candy there. So, get ready for it. Be excited about it. Well, that wouldn't be a good idea because when they get there and they find out what's really going on, they find out they're not going to get any candy. They're going to be real disappointed. And you know what? You shouldn't be too surprised if you find out that they run away. They're going to be real disappointed, and that's a pretty cruel trick to play on your kids. Likewise, many people that profess to be Christians end up leaving the faith, what they now call deconstructing. And this is for the exact same reason. They're being told that there's candy at God's house. There's nothing wrong with us sharing our testimony, but we in no way should let people think that this is some kind of standard or some kind of model for the life that they're going to get when they come to Christ. Because there's a reason why we come to Christ, and that is for salvation. We have to understand what the true gift is and what it truly means to love God. If you meet some girl and you think you love her at first sight, you definitely don't know what love is. If you just seeing this physical attraction, you don't know anything about her, and you think you love her, that's not what love is. You want something from her. You're attracted to her beauty. So this is lust that is driving you. And this is the same reason why many people believe they want a relationship with God, but they don't really want God. They want what they can get from God. They want the things that only God can provide, but they don't want God himself. What it truly means to have a relationship with God and what we should truly be seeking after is his forgiveness and understanding what he's provided for us and what he's already done for us. Once we understand what he's already done for us, this is what makes us truly love him, not looking forward to what we can get in the future. In the Gospel of Luke, we hear about this Pharisee that calls Jesus to come eat with him. So Jesus, he goes and sits down and eats with this Pharisee. And then there's this woman who is, an open sinner that everybody around knows is a sinner. Of course, the Pharisee is a sinner too, whether he knows it or not. But this woman who is a sinner, she comes behind Jesus and she starts crying and she gets down and she starts wiping Jesus' feet with her tears in her hair. And the Pharisee says to himself, like, man, this guy must not know who she is. She's a sinner. And then Jesus calls Peter, one of his disciples, over, and this is what he says. In Luke 7:40-43. And Jesus answered and said to him, Simon, I have something to say to you. So he said, Teacher, say it. There was a certain creditor who had 2 debtors. One owed him 100 denarii and the other 50. And when they had nothing with which to repay, he freely forgave them both. Tell me, therefore, which of them will love him more? Simon answered and said, I suppose the one whom he forgave more. And he said to him, You have rightly judged. Then he goes on to give this woman more praise about the way she responded in love because of how deep and how grievous her sins were and how much love she showed because she understood how much she had been forgiven. And then right here in Luke 47, he says, Therefore I say to you, her sins, which are many, are forgiven, for she loved much. But to whom little is forgiven, the same loves little. You see, the only way we can truly love God, because he says right here, for whom little is forgiven, he loves little. But she was forgiven much, so she loved much. Once we understand how much our sin grieves God, that's what will make us love him more, when we understand what truly happened on that cross. Once we understand how much he's truly forgiven us, once we understand the serious nature of our condition, how much help we really need, what is being prepared for those who have not accepted Jesus. Once you understand this, and then you understand what Jesus has done, that is what's going to truly make you understand what God has done. So this is why there's so many people that when they promote God and when they spread the gospel, they They preach this message all about the here and now. They're telling people about what they can get, and everybody doesn't get that. We see the apostles and all they went through. The Bible tells us that everybody that becomes a believer in some kind of way is going to endure persecution. This is not really an easy life, especially in these times. And things are getting worse and worse. Christians are being persecuted more. We are a target. We're hated, but we're still called to love people. So we're still called to a higher standard. But the problem is when we're trying to tell people about the candy, telling people about all the things that they can have here and now, we are missing the most important thing that will bring somebody to Christ. And that is salvation, true salvation. The true gospel is being saved from our sins, saved from death. And if somebody never gets excited about this, they're not really getting excited about God. It's just like that kid that doesn't really want to go to grandma's house, but really wants to go eat candy. We have to prepare people for the broccoli that's really going to be served. Because you know what? Candy's really not even good for you, but broccoli is. And this is the same thing. Many of the things that people think they want from God are things that really aren't even good for them. Things that are going to build their pride, make them more self-righteous, and slowly kill them and pull them further and further away from God. But the things that God truly provides for us is salvation, the understanding of who we are as sinners. These are things that humble us, make us more grateful, and make us care less about the things that really destroy us. Remember, right here in 1 John 4:19, this is the reason why we love God. We love him because he first loved us. Something to think about.